Hey everyone, Krissy Vaine here, and welcome to your weekly Outlook Pick a Card. This is for weeks September 27th through October 4th, 2020. However, if you stumbled upon this video and you pick a deck, that is still the reading for you because there's no accidents. It's just divine timing and divine alignment. So that means you were supposed to see that message and you were supposed to apply it to your life. So I always like to start these little weeklies with a little bit of my own intuition and a little bit of what's going on in my own life, which I am very, very good at tapping into the collective. So something that was shown to me this week, I live on the water here in St. Pete, Florida, and something that was shown to me this week was the water was so rough this week and it was just flowing outward, flowing outward, flowing outward. I did not do a personally a ton of exercise this week. I sat and I watched that water and I watched the flow and I thought to myself, this is what's being asked of all of us right now. We are all being asked to flow. We are all being asked to flow towards what it is that is calling us and away from what doesn't work for us. So also the tide was going the same way pretty much for those 4 days just looked like it was just kind of going away from me. I was like, and we're all supposed to be letting go of what no longer serves our purpose. It's very, very important from now until December that we are meditating. I started meditating 3 times a day recently because I want to be in touch with that divine purpose and I want to be in touch with that divine union, and I want to be an open channel and open clairsentient to be able to get all of the messages that are meant for me. I have heard this timeline that we are on right now from Leo King over at Leo King on YouTube. I've heard him say that this is the destiny portal. Nothing seems more accurate. I have shifted my life in ways that you would not believe in the last 6 months, going strictly into my soul's path of teaching, helping people get in spiritual alignment, as well as entertaining. For those of you who don't know me, I'm also a professional wrestler and a television model at HSN. So I just stopped doing everything I hated and only started doing things that I liked. Now that was really scary because it's like, well, I mean, what about, a paycheck? What about, that steady 2-weeker? And so I said to my spirit guides, and this is something that you can try. It's insane how the universe will take care of you. I said to my spirit guides, I said, okay. I said, if you want me to do this, I said, if you want me to do the YouTube, if you want me doing strictly entertainment and not having anything bring in like a strict 2-week paycheck, I said, you have to support me in this. And so you have to show me that, I'm not going to go broke. I'm not going to lose what I have. And I'm still going to be abundant. And I want you to know that I have more money now than I did 6 months ago when all this happened. Somehow, some way, because I stepped completely on the spiritual path, completely in divine alignment with everything that I am, I have made more money than I was making before with way less work and way less physical work and way less stress. It's just like abundance and prosperity have flown to me. I've also made sure that I gifted that back out to the universe in numerous ways. I think I'm going to do a series on the 12 universal laws soon. I think it's going to be important to teach you guys about that. But let's get back on track to the reading for today. But as far as my intuitive hits this week, guys, learn to be like water and flow. What flows away from you, let it flow away. What flows towards you, pay attention and check in with your heart space and see, does it align and does it resonate? Because if it does, I guarantee you're supposed to step forth into that path. So For those of you who are followers of me and are already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to get to 100 subs by October 1st. That's like my little goal that I set for myself. So anyone that can help me with that intention is greatly, greatly appreciated by sharing this video and liking and subscribing and telling your friends to like and subscribe. So those of you who have done these readings before understand that your Starseed Oracle is deck number 1. Your Soul Truth is deck number 2, and your Angel Therapy is deck number 3. So what I'll do is when I'm done with this, I'll timestamp all of these so you can say, oh, group 1, you know, Starseed calls to me. You'll know exactly where your timestamp is, and you won't have to sit and watch the whole video. Same with the Angel Therapy, same with the Soul's Truth. There will be a timestamp for each one. So that makes it easy for you to just strictly use your intuition and go towards what calls you. So let's start with my Starseed Oracle friends who I feel so deeply connected to and so deeply called to. You guys' relationships feel good this week. It feels like you guys had some situations pan out that you were questionable whether or not they would pan out, and now you're seeing that the other person is trying to change too. However, that's not just because they wanted to change, that's because your vibration showed them by example how they could change, how they could become better versions of themselves. You leading by example led them to go one step into being the best versions of themselves. So that's like by you leading by example, my beautiful galactic cosmic starseeds. So yeah, I just wanted to say that before we start. So let's see what the Starseed deck has to say. This is by Rebecca Campbell. It's in my Amazon must-haves below. Literally one of my favorite decks, and the deck that I most use with clients because I feel like I attract tons of like that galactic cosmic energy because that's what I am attuned to right now, even though in the past it has been angel, it has been the angel deck. So, but right now I'm heavily connected to my starseeds and my quantum and galactic beings. So let's see what the cards have to say for you this week. Remember, I do these weekly, and then I also see private clients through the phone. So you don't get a voice recording or a phone recording with me. You actually talk to me, which is a little different than a lot of YouTubers do it. But I really think it's important to have that connection. So I do phone sessions. So, okay. So let's get it started. Every time I do a reading, I always protect the space. I always knock 3 times, blow the cards off, and ask that the reading be in highest alignment for the highest good of all involved. So I just pulled 3 cards. Number 1, your life is a canvas. What did I just say to you about how you're feeling good? You're creating your own space. You're doing that by leading by example. You're learning that. You are the artist of your own life, and you are the person, the creature that manifests their reality. Creative accountability. So Mars is in retrograde right now, and I'm not an astrologist, but I do follow people like Leo King and Molly McCord and a few others that I really, really enjoy listening to, just so that with my own intuition, I can sort of get a handle on the energies. And maybe if I'm feeling a little tired, which I was feeling very tired this week, Mars went into retrograde, which Mars energy is like I want to go fast. I want to go like fast and furious, like warrior. And then with it being in retrograde, you're still gonna have the energy, but then you're not gonna be able to like push forward into it. So I want you to know, it's not you. But now's a really good time to go into creative and artistic pursuits, because they're actually going to feed the soul. They're not going to take from. You can use that Mars energy in a positive way and in a positive light. We would say like a remedy for Mars in retrograde would be to turn into the creative artist and to sort of go inward. And if you like to paint, paint. If you like to draw, draw. If you like to channel, write. if you like to create videos and content, and I almost use my Instagram like a blog, create beautiful content, because a lot of the starseeds are creators, and we're going to do really, really well in the coming years when everything goes to technology. So start creating what you can see in your mind space, and you are going to be sitting pretty in 2 to 4 years. But you just have to show up every week. That's like the thing, is consistency, and scheduling, as we all know, can be a little hard for like us. Like, I am with you here, but I made a promise to myself to live in divinity and to live in my full-on truth, and to not let anyone stand in my way again. Like, I sort of learned with COVID that like everything can sort of be snatched out from underneath you, like just like that. And so why the fuck not do what you want to do? Like, do what you want to do, go into those creator pursuits. Even if you can't do it full time, give it a couple of hours every week, because again, like Leo King says, it's the destiny portal, and it's really, really time that we step into that. And if we can step into that right now with all of the difficult energies surrounding us, then we will be sitting so pretty in a couple of years, because we were brave enough to be courageous during this time, and to not get like down in the dumps and like let it destroy you and get into the energies of the world. Because especially with my starseeds are not of this world, so you don't need to be getting caught up in the drama there either. So know that you are a higher galactic being, you are a higher cosmic energy, and you want to stay in that high vibration for you and those around you. So find your creative pursuit and devote a couple of hours a week towards it. Oh, what was I just saying? Oh God, sometimes it's too weird. The great severing. Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. Ooh, I'm covered in chills right now. Sometimes it's just too weird. Because that was channeled information prior to pulling these cards, and then the cards, but that's the way it always happens. That's why I love doing things like this, and I love working with you guys one-on-one, because we get the shifts in person, and we're like, so the great severing. We are letting go. We were cutting etheric cords that no longer serve us. You are letting go of like that toxic family energy, or that toxic ex-husband energy, or that toxic energy that you have from trauma when you were younger. It's not easy to let that go. So I'll share with you a quick story of just something that I did this week. I did a past life regression, and I'm going to do a completely separate video on that, because it deserves its own separate video. But I was really having a lot of inner child conflict over the last few months, because I have always felt that I did not belong in my family. I always felt rejected. I always felt that I did not belong. It was just very, very, very hurtful energy. I felt that way since I was born. I don't remember ever not feeling that way. So I did this past life regression, and I was shown that I actually did not I did not do my very good research on like the family I inhabited. I did not realize that humans live at different resonance, because where I'm from, because again, I resonate with Starseed, where I'm from, everybody vibrates the same. And so when I got down in a human body, I did not realize that human bodies are often stressed. And so I was born extremely premature, extremely sick, was put in a bubble, in ICU for 3 weeks, which is actually really good, my mom was telling me. So anyways, I just felt that sense of separation, always. And I've always wanted to belong, like always. And for whatever reason, I belong in like gypsy places, like the wrestling business or like the modeling business where people are gypsies and creatives. But I've never fit in like just my normal family. So I did this past life regression because I was just feeling angry and like, why me, and why I'm nice to them, and like why. So they showed me that that it was actually my fault, that I was the one who did not do my research, and that I chose my family based upon the land, because I grew up in North Carolina where there's lots of crystals I could dig up and pyrite that I could dig up, and I had all that in my yard, so that was closest to my residence back home. So they showed me that it was very much my own fault that I didn't get with like a gypsy family or whatever who resonated with me, but that I was probably gonna feel like that in almost any situations, because this was my first time on earth as a human. And that I really was gonna sort of feel like that in general until I found other humans like myself, which is the gypsies and the starseeds and the this and the that. So it really sort of put things into perspective and said, your family loves you. Like they showed me, my guide showed me that my family actually loves me very much, and that it was me projecting my feelings of rejection onto them, and then them reflecting it back to me. Because obviously, like when you're in, you know, you guys watching know this, you can feel your own energy and feel your own power. So when you're blasting out to people that you're hurt by them and whatever, it's gonna come, life is a mirror. Like you don't get what you want, you get what you need. So I called my mom. This is like the biggest conflict in my life too. Like everything else is pretty easy. So I called my mom and I said, can you tell me about how I was born? Can you tell me about how I was brought into this world? Did you guys want me? Yada, yada, yada. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, of course we wanted you. And I said, did you come see me when I was in the incubator for 3 weeks when I was premature and sick? And she's like, I came every day, twice a day. Like I spent every minute with you. The nurses would tell me to go home, but I would not leave. And I said, okay, and when was the disconnect? When did the disconnect start to happen between us? And we just had this really long, really healing talk. So I am going, and I was like, oh my God, I've wanted to ask these questions for like years and years and years. Why have I never up until this point? Because I didn't have the nerves and the courage, and I just had it in my mind it was a certain type of way. And then when I did that past life regression, I was shown that there are two sides to every story. So it was very healing for me. And the timing, you know, right now with the great severing and the Mars energy, that's what this energy is asking of all of us starseeds. Like they want us to like fix things if we can, forgive people if we can, let things go if we can. And we're all capable, even like the worst of worst things, we're all capable of forgiveness and letting go, because all that does is poison you. It doesn't poison, you know, the person you're projecting at. They may not even be thinking anything about you, but it's you and it's poisoning you. So the great severing asks you to cut those etheric cords and to heal, and to forgive. And that's what I did this week. That's why this is so insanely on point, because it's time, because you will never be as prosperous, as abundant, as successful, as happy in your relationships as you could be if you do not let the poison out and the toxicity out. And then the last one for the starseeds, oh my gosh, this is my favorite. Baby steps. Because what happened? We just healed the inner child. I just healed mine, you know, a huge part of mine this week. Questions I've wanted to ask for over 10 years, over 15 years. Because like I said, I've been feeling this type of way since I can remember. Once you've done these things, take baby steps towards your intuitive action. Don't just jump into anything. Take one little action step, see how you feel. Take another little action step, see how you feel. Don't bum rush and get into like some fiery, don't get into that Mars energy in that way. Remember I talked about I was meditating 3 times a day. I'm very sensitive to the cosmic. So with Mars, you know, going full force right now, I'm like, rawr. So I have a feeling a lot of you are too. So just careful with that. Baby steps. Little actions, little inspired actions at a time. But your biggest thing this week is get into that creator mode, feel inspired, work on ways to forgive and to cut the etheric cords, and then start making those baby action steps, because by December you're going to be flying high and in that destiny portal. And you can hear Leo King talk more about that. in his videos. He's been real on it lately about destiny portals. And I mean, I feel that inherently. So I'm encouraging everyone to get on that path. Okay, Starseeds, we'll see you next week. And we're going on to Soul's Truth next. So let's see what the Soul's Truth has to say. You guys still feel like you're having a hard time? Like there wasn't as much movement? Are you being affected by the Mars retrograde? Or is it just all up in your feelings in general? All up in your feelings in general. So I think it was Soul Truth last week where we talked about victimization and take yourself out of the victimization. You have to remove yourself from that role before you can heal. So keep that in mind, that in order to heal, you gotta deal and you gotta get yourself out of the victimization in order to heal and deal. I don't want y'all getting caught up. So I have a rule. I have a 24-hour rule on depression in my household. So if I have a moment, I mean, this is obviously just for like day-to-day stuff. If I'm in a mood, I only allow it for 24 hours. Like I rest and meditate and allow that. And then afterwards I move on. And again, it doesn't have to be like huge, crazy, like action steps, like, you know, running, sprinting to the finish line, but I don't allow myself an energy like that for very long because we are all just energy. We're all vibrating. If you are not vibrating high, you are vibrating low, and that activates a series of unfortunate events, and you don't want that. Like you want to be vibing high, so you're like the Midas touch, like you touch this and it turns to gold, and you touch this and it turns to gold, and you touch this and it turns to gold. You want to become the alchemist. I've really worked hard on becoming the alchemist in the last 10 years and turning lead into gold, metaphorically. So I've been able to do that over and over and over again, and I want you to do the same, but first you have to take yourself out of victimization, okay? So work on that this week, soul group number 2. Let's see what the cards have to say. Ooh, this one almost fell out. Okay. Oh, there's 4. Okay. Oh, okay. So now I know what the energy was. It's buried shame. And I know that feeling all too well because I have been very ashamed at some of my actions in the past, where I self-sabotage things that I'm very embarrassed by. Any of you who have followed my career know that I debuted on SmackDown in 2007, and then I quit like a week or 2 later. The reason why I quit was because I was on too many antidepressants and too much Xanax to even know what was going on. And in my mind, I was getting bullied and attacked in the locker room. And so I quit. I threw a huge, huge opportunity down the drain that I will never get again. There may be some, you know, some levels of success, but like I'll never get that opportunity again. And I dealt with that buried shame for so long, where I was like embarrassed, and I didn't claim actually like that it was my fault, that I was the one who didn't have the mental capacity, that I didn't have the mental agility to be in a high corporate platform like that, and that I let them destroy me. And this is my peers, this is not higher ups, this is my peers. But sometimes when you're super fucking powerful, you make people nervous and you offend people. And when I was a little baby wrestler, I did not realize how powerful and how inherently goddess-like I am. And I did not realize that that energy would make people upset to where they would want to act a certain type of way. Or maybe I was just using it too much in a negative aspect, because that can be done too, and then it just shadowed back on myself. However, very many years of buried shame behind that. And then one day I just got up, and I had been studying law of attraction and, Bob Proctor and Abraham Hicks and stuff for a very long time. And I said, that was my life, but I start anew today, and I will not live like that anymore. I will not be the victim. I will not blame other people for my mishaps, because as an alchemist, I should have been able to transmute that energy, but I did not have the training at the time. So I highly encourage you, instead of watching television, instead of watching Netflix, to watch things to grow your mind. Because if you are in control of your mind, you are in control of the world. And I mean this with everything I have. I do not ever work for anything anymore. And I say that with everything that I have in me. I do not work nor kill myself for anything anymore. What is mine flows to me. What is mine lays out in front of me. What is mine just manifests. And do I take inspired action steps towards that? Of course. So it's not that I'm being lazy, it's just that I'm a master manifester. And I want you guys to become master manifestors, where when somebody says, oh, well, what are your plans? You say, I don't know, whatever shows up, but it's going to be awesome. Because that's what I say now. But that I had to let go of my buried shame before I was able to move into the new energy that I'm in now, where everything just comes to me. And that's not being arrogant. That's just because I have trained my mind to work in such a way that it just flows. And I oftentimes know something's coming too, because I've done so much intuitive work and psychic work that I'll be like, oh, something's coming this week, but maybe I won't know what it is. Everyone has that ability, but you have to work towards it. So I highly recommend Bob Proctor, Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, any spiritual teachers that you are drawn to. Get off the Netflix, get off the dark web, let go of the buried shame, because everybody makes mistakes, and you're the one who think it's a bigger mistake than anybody. Everybody else is like, oh, I barely remember that. Because I'll meet people now and I'll be like, oh God, they're going to judge me because of what I did in 2007. They won't even remember, or they won't even know. They'll be like, oh, okay. It's not even a thing to anybody but me. So keep that in mind, because we are the stars of our own movies. So we are the ones who are think that all the drama lies here, which it does, but other people don't pay attention to that so much unless it involves them. What do I believe about money? Do my beliefs match my dreams? So I said in the beginning that I said to my spirit guides, hey, if you guys want me to do this, if you guys want me to completely move into a soul-based business and then entertain and just really live the life of my dreams, I said, you got to keep my bank account full. Because I'm a Capricorn sun. So if you don't get my bank account full, if you don't keep my bank account full, then I'm going to get nervous and then go get a 9 to 5 or something. So I made that little deal with them about 3 or 4 months ago when I started all of this. And I want you to know I have more abundance now than I had when I was working a 9 to 5, slaving away for someone else's dreams. So you can give them little energetic exchanges. Because I did not believe truly that I had it within me to make a full living like this. I've actually never done it. I've always had, except for when I was in WWE for 2 years, I've always had a little steady job, on the side, and then done my entertainment stuff too. But that little steady job, because I was scared I wasn't capable enough to go into my soul's truth and live in the power of who I am and make money. Wow, was I wrong. But I did make a pact with my spirit guides. I said, okay, I got to keep my bank account full because I've worked really hard for this and I don't want to lose it all during a pandemic. But in reality, I have far more now than I had before. So what do I believe about money? Do my beliefs match my dreams? How does your relationship with money affect your current situation? Do you believe you are worthy? Do you trust money? Does money trust you? Money is an energy. It ebbs and flows. You are worthy of it, and it's your responsibility to heal your relationship with money as a part of your waking up to the whole of you and your purpose. So you guys are going to have to learn to trust a little bit. Take that chance. Call that metaphysical store, sell your art, journal or write papers and then submit them online to online publications. If you're a photographer, submit your photography to publications. Believe in who you are and what you do. Because if you believe in who you are and what you do, what is the universe going to say to you? Fuck yes, I believe in you too, and it's going to reward you larger than you can ever imagine. So I understand the money thing. That has been my hardest thing. And do you want to know what I do when I'm feeling like that? I find a GoFundMe to go give $100 to. Because I say, I cannot feel like this. I cannot go back to who I was when I was, fresh off the farm from North Carolina, before I learned and before I know all the things that I know, and know that we live in an abundant universe. So I say, okay, if I'm feeling weird about money, guess what I do? I go donate to somebody and make someone else feel better. Last week I donated to someone and I was having one of those moments, and then 3 days later I had $1,000 worth of checks to come in, but I was having one of those moments, and I said, screw it, I'm just going to give my friend, the acquaintance, I knew him from high school, $100 because he was in a really serious car accident, and he and his family are really going to struggle now. And I am so blessed, even though I feel like nervous about that right now. I know that the best way to create abundance is to give abundance. So I donated $100, I tipped the GoFundMe, and then I let it go. I didn't expect a response, I didn't expect anything, but he messaged me back almost immediately, and he said, Krissy, you are an angel on earth. He said, I will never forget this, and I'm so thankful for you. And then I said, there goes my vibration. I immediately felt abundant because I was helping better another human around me. And that's the whole point of all this, is bettering the humans around you, bettering your environment, bettering, your students, bettering your husband or your wife or your kids. The whole reason why we're here is to better the environment around us. I'm getting like teary even thinking about it. But you don't have to think non-abundant thoughts. God's spirit universe wants to take care of you like it's been taking care of me the last 6 months when I lost my job. I haven't had to worry, I've been fine. So then after I gave to the GoFundMe, randomly like $1,000 worth of checks came like 3 days later. And I never know because I'm an independent contractor, except for when I'm doing readings and stuff like that. That's immediate. But like when I'm modeling and sometimes wrestling, like whatever, that's checks. So you don't ever really know when that's gonna come in. So of course, like a few days later, an extra $1,000 just dropped from the sky. I mean, I had worked for it, but it's like, get paid to go sit there and be pretty, like it's so easy, like what? So anyways, trust your heart, trust your creations, and start to become abundant in that way. Am I in my head or am I in my heart? How fitting is that, considering I just almost started crying a few minutes ago because I feel this so strongly, because money was the hardest thing for me. And it's going to be Sunday night when this launches. I have just upgraded all of my prices and everything. This past week was the last week you could get to me at the prices that I was at, because that doesn't match up with me anymore. I am much more abundant and much full of so much prosperity. So it was time to upgrade my prices a little bit. They've been the same for years. So anyways, an important part of lining up with prosperity and lining up with your creative soul and lining up with the divine path is living in your heart. How does it feel? Not what do you think about this, not what does my brain think about this. How does it feel? It's the only question you have to ask yourself to figure out if you are living in your heart or living in your head. How does it feel? Feels good? If it feels nervous, exciting, it's go time. If it feels nervous, anxiety, like something in the pit of my stomach, maybe not so much. Maybe you're not ready, or maybe it's not the right path. But when you live in your heart space, you cannot make a wrong decision. So I just taught you, how does it feel? Ask yourself, hands over your heart, how does it feel? How does it feel for me to move forward into this? If it feels good, you go. If it does not feel good, you stay. Okay? That was awesome for my soul truth people. So we're working on letting go of shame, healing relationships, your belief about abundance and money. You can do it. You got this. You are fully abundant in your creative abilities. Start small. And then am I in my head or in my heart? Once you get out of your head, you will be blown away by the abundance that you receive. Because when you are on the heart path, when you have blasted open that heart chakra, people feel that. Mother Gaia feels that, and the world opens up for you. So I'm really excited for you guys, because you guys felt heavy to me when we started, but now I'm like, oh yes, you got this, soul truth people. Like, I'm feeling you. And this one dropped out of the deck, so I'm gonna read this one too. To whom am I comparing myself to? Sister, brother, there ain't nobody like you in the universe. So I always say this, how I have enjoyed flying my weird flag in the last 6 months. I just tell people, I'm an intuitive, I'm an energy healer, I'm a pro wrestler, and I'm a television model. And I don't try to hide it anymore. I used to try to put it into a little box and say, oh, I'm just a model, or oh, I'm just an energy healer and an intuitive, oh, I'm just a wrestler. No, sisters and brothers, I am all of that, because that is who makes me me. There are plenty of wrestlers, there are plenty of intuitives, there are plenty of television models, there are plenty of models. What makes me special is that I do all of that, and I encompass a really strange combination, but something that you also encompass, because we are all given the things that we need in this life to create the life of our dreams. So right now, I'm just doing everything I enjoy and everything I find fun, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the life of my dreams, and we're in a not so good time, quote unquote, by worldly standards, and I'm I've had the most amazing 6 months of my life. So don't compare yourselves to others. Stand in your truth. If you think you are weird, weird is a good thing. Weird makes you unique. Weird makes you you. So do not compare yourself to others. I love you guys. Be you. There's nothing better to fly that weird flag and be okay with it. Be you. Okay, going on to the third deck. These are my angels, and last week we felt like these, I was feeling like these guys were having a hard time with their diets and potentially their alcohol and chemicals. It feels better to me this week, we're not dealing with that quite so much, or maybe somebody around them doing that. So let's see. The angels feel light and airy this week. You guys are actually doing good in the Mars energy, because you guys are yeah, we ain't messing with that. That's what it feels like. It feels yeah, we know what's going on, but we ain't messing with that. So you guys are just kind of keeping to yourself, and it feels I like it. Do some meditation, do some inward work, do some inner child work, and keep on that path, because you made big strides, big strides. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, I keep having them fall out this time. I can't hold on to them. So we've got 3 cards here. Group number 3. Okay. All right. So this is a big theme right now, and this energy is not always necessary light and airy. It's the twin flame energy. So twin flames are the other half to your whole. So the divine masculine to the divine feminine. Sometimes we reincarnate with our twin flame to become the highest evolved soul that we can in this lifetime. It is often much, much harder than a soulmate relationship, because a soulmate relationship is not the other half of you. So the twin flame, literally being the other half of you, also has shadows that are triggers. So it can be very, very difficult energy to handle, very difficult energy to hold. You oftentimes have a runner in the twin flame relationship where one runs because they get scared. And I'm not saying that this is somebody who like treats you like shit and like sometimes they call and sometimes they don't. I'm talking about like you guys were doing great and then maybe you got a weird feeling so then you didn't call, and then they got a weird feeling so they didn't call, and then everybody's scared to get hurt so somebody runs. I'm not talking about somebody who like blows you off all the time. That's just a fuckboy. So serious, legit. A twin flame is somebody who loves you and you can feel it. A twin flame is a connection like you can't even put words on. So the fact that that's coming up within my angel tribe actually just made me break out in a full sweat, because I met my twin flame in 2006. We are still married and wonderful, but it's been a long 14 years of shadow, heal, shadow, heal, shadow, heal. Kristen was the runner, so Kristen runs, Krissy runs. Shadow, heal. And then I will say that there finally became a point where we just like, I don't know, it just started even flowing pretty easily. But that is the point of a twin flame relationship, for the two of you to become your highest evolved souls. So when dealing with your twin flame, I want you to remember that it's really important that you, let me see how they want me to say this. They're wanting to activate the throat chakra and for you to speak your truth, because sometimes you can kind of simmer down in front of them because there's like somewhat of like an intimidation thing. Because remember I said it's like shadow work with the twin flames. So don't like simmer down and become a wallflower with them. I did that for so long and I can't tell you like how not beneficial it was for the entire relationship. Like, don't let that person just not be the star of the show, but like run the show is like what they're saying. Oh God, this is like, it's hard. It's like literally breaking out a sweat because I don't even like to like talk like so much because it's hard. The twin flame relationship is hard, but I've been there and gotten through it. But I will say like, oof, there have been some difficult times, worth it, but like it's a difficult relationship. So don't be a wallflower. Don't close down your throat chakra. Live in your heart. So understand that the twin flame is going to bring up shadows for you and them. So like allow yourself and allow the other person to express those shadows. So if they say to you, this is what I feel like that, you know, whatever, even if they don't word it in the right way, try to interpret it the correct way, that, so that you guys can heal and transmute, because that's what this entire relationship is about. It's about transmutation, and it's about getting past all the hard stuff, because then it's like the most beautiful union, like if you can just get it straight. But it is like, I'm telling you, it's very strong at first, like can't live without each other, like even to the point of like destruction. And then like, then the lusty part ends, and then it's like the shadows start like getting pulled up, but then you don't feel like you can get away from them because you're like, I love them, and they're like, I love you, but like this is a little destructive. And then I'm like sweating even talking about it. But then if you can get past that and realize what it's for, and you and your partner have a talk on all of these shadows being brought up so that you can transmute it and become like the highest soul version, and maybe even potentially come together in a union, in a business union or a marriage, but definitely like a true union. The power that the two of you have in true union is unstoppable. So I will say that if you can get past all the tough parts, then that union is sort of unbreakable and unstoppable. But twin flame is a little bit of a lot of bit of a difficult energy. It is not your typical soulmate. Soulmates are easy. twin flames is like, oh, let me bring up this shadow. Oh, let me bring up this part of you that you don't like. Oh, let me bring up, this trauma that your mama or your daddy did to you, and then I'm going to do the same thing. It's a lot. So try to stay in that level of awareness where you realize what it is and you explain to your partner what it is. Hopefully they are open to spirituality. Mine was, and I think that's the only reason why we made it. Oh, funny, throat chakra. So what did I just say? It's important that you speak your truth in these types of relationships, because if you don't, you will feel like the battered one. You will feel like, oh, this person takes advantage of you. No, this person is asking of you to rise to the highest version of yourself. And sometimes in order to do that, you have to open up your throat chakra, which maybe your parents didn't let you do, or maybe your grandma told you to be quiet, or, maybe in a past life you weren't allowed to speak your truth. It's very, very important in a twin soul relationship that you speak your truth, because otherwise you start shrinking. You start shrinking in a way that sucks, and you do not want to go there. So if you're feeling weak or shadowed in some way because of them, it's important that this week that you come into your own and speak your truth in a kind and loving way. I always say speak your truth, but in a kind and loving way. So don't talk when you're angry. Give it some time, and then come at a person, read some stuff on communication. Like there's plenty of books on, I actually had to read these because I used to be like a lot worse with my vocabulary than I am now, like a lot harsher. My Scorpio side would come out. Nonviolent communication. And there's really good books on nonviolent communication, because then that way that person can receive what you have to say. So maybe read some books. Because nobody accepts being lashed out to, okay? And then you are a powerful light worker, and most likely your twin flame is as well. And you guys are supposed to do something really special together. Light workers are given signs like 1111, 444, 222. You're often very intuitive, but you know that you have a bigger path in the world. And it seems like that this week, that focus is on you doing that with your twin flame, and you both coming into your power, and you both coming into the 11. They're saying that the 1111s and the DNA awakening codes are very, very important for you. So get the books on like nonviolent communications. Read the find out what your partner's love language is versus how your love language, and how that works together. And come into your power as a divine union rather than separate. You guys are going to be somebody told me this, a psychic actually told me this about 14 years ago. She said, you guys are always going to be much, much more powerful together than you are separate. She goes, but it's going to take you a long time to figure it out. And she was right. I can feel that on a cellular level. Now, granted, we had our different careers and different things that we had to do, before we could really truly start that union together. My son was really sort of the catalyst in that forces you to be a family when you have a kid, rather than just, I go do my work, you go do your work, and then we meet in the middle. It is much, much better to work as a divine union, because the spark and the power coming off of that just draws to it what you need. So remind your partner that they are a light worker. Do research on the twin flame and that divine union and the power that can come from that. And work on opening up that throat chakra. So with my third eye or my throat, like sometimes I'll tap my third eye, but with my throat, oftentimes I just like rub it and like ask for it to be opened up and for me to speak my truth in a way that people are open to and that people will understand. So I'm sure there are some guided meditations on YouTube if that's like your thing. I also did a past life regression this past week, which I'm gonna do a video on, because I feel like that helped me immensely open up my throat chakra, because I had a really difficult conversation with my mom that I had never had before. So whatever you can do, there are different crystals, that can grow on, that go on the throat chakra. The throat chakra is blue. So, lapis lazuli or even Moonstone has if you want to, I always like doing the intuition with my throat chakra. That way I'm channeling what to say from my highest self. But yeah, so work on like opening up that throat chakra and speaking in a kind and loving way. Actually, that book on violent communication, I think that was what it was called, showed up in my mailbox one day. And I called one of my mentors in North Carolina, my shaman mentor, and I said, hey, did you send me this book? And he said, no. I'm thinking like how I to this day have no idea how that book showed up in my mailbox with no return address on it, but I knew that it was important, so I read it, and then I started working on my communication, and I started working on my speech so that I could speak to people in a way that they would accept and understand. So that is my angel messages for this week. That is the full outlook for September 27th through October 4th, 2020. But keep in mind, if you stumbled upon this video and you were drawn to deck 1, 2, or 3, it was meant for you to get those messages, regardless if it's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, or 2 weeks from now. Again, this is your host, Krissy Vaine, and I am also available for personal readings. And again, I do personal one-to-one phone. I do not do voice recorded, which is a lot of what a lot of the YouTubers that I've seen do. I believe in that human connection. So if you need a little guidance, if you need a little help, I'd love to work with you. And we'll see you next week. And I just hope everyone has like the most amazing, miraculous, full of shifts week. And we'll see you then. Please don't forget, because it so helps my algorithm. Please please subscribe, and hit the little bell so you get notifications. And please share with your friends, because that is what's going to help this channel grow. I cannot do that without you. And I just appreciate any support. So please hit the little like button so that you bump up our algorithm so that we can show up for more people. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.